What is going on, everybody? I hope we are all having a beautiful victory Monday. Your Minnesota Vikings are 9-2. We have Thanksgiving week this week. A lot of great things for this Minnesota Vikings team. Obviously, as we all know, weird things happen at Soldier Field. It was an ugly game, as we all kind of predicted going into Soldier Field. But at the end of the day, your Minnesota Vikings came away with a win, 9-2, feeling
Let's
pretty damn good.
go. Is that 6 or 9? Whatever. 69. Yeah, dude. Obviously, we'll take it the way things were looking. Like I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like it was like almost so close to being a disaster that the fact that we ended up winning and the way we ended up winning makes it like not as bad as like us even letting that even happen, which is terrible. But we're going to get into it in a second here. Let's do some shout outs. We had Delton in here early at 3:52. Here's a fucking stat for that ass. First time in franchise histories, we have won back-to-back away games. I did not know that. So three away games in a row that we've won for the first time in history. Dang, let's go. Skol, my fellow perps. What's going on? George Blunt, bleeding purple in the building. Hi, everyone. Skol, let's go. Let's go. Big Raylan, my guy. Let's do it. Roger. Nick Riley in here. This team is a weekly heart attack. Yeah. And this one was like, this one was like one of the, if we would have lost that game, I honestly would not have known how to feel about it. Russell F at 9-2. Let's go. Even though, hasn't been smooth sailing, but at the end of the day, we're 9-2, which is absolutely ridiculous to say that we're 9-2 this season.
Yep. I mean, we're already 3 wins over what people had kind of projected us at. So
yeah, we beat 3 wins over Vegas.
Right.
Hey, Gary, my guy.
And one of my coworkers said, "Are the Vikings the one of the worst 9-2 teams ever?" I'm gonna say no. Like, I honestly, I truly believe and will say this is a good Minnesota Vikings team. Like, are they Super Bowl contenders like we thought the first 5 weeks? Questionable. But this is a good football team, and there's no denying that. It's for the most part, pretty dang well coached. Players have a lot of heart. They're playing their asses off out there. This is a good team that can win. That when they're playing like they did parts of yesterday, this team, especially on offense, this team can go toe to toe with anybody in the league.
Yeah, I honestly think they can, and they could also, same old Viking thing where we can go toe to toe with some of the worst teams in the league. Even though we're talking about that Tennessee game that went pretty solid for the most part, and they ended up beating Houston. So I mean, anything can happen in the NFL too, either way. Right. But this bear,
I don't want to hear the people that are like, "Well, the early portion of the schedule doesn't look like it was that great now because the 49ers suck, the Texans are off. Oh, all these teams that we thought were hard games, they might not be that big of wins anymore." No, you can't. It's all about the time you play those games. And when we played those games, the 49ers and the Houston Texans were considered to be favorites to go to the Super Bowl. Sure, things haven't gone their way, but those are still huge wins. I just don't want to hear any of who have the Vikings really beaten this year. Like, get out of here with that nonsense. I hate when we do that now. Now that we're good, now we got to go back and look at all these other wins and like, oh well, that win's really not all that important. Like, get that out of here,
dude. The reality is like even ugly, like, all right, yeah, I get it. Like 1 ugly win, 2 ugly wins. I want to see a bunch of ugly wins, but the fact that we still are winning all those games, like every single one of those ugly wins, it felt like we were going to win the whole time. And we were leading the game the whole time. We just should have won by a lot more than we did. And that's the problem. And I saw my boy Gary here with the hashtag Skol. Of course, another JJ McCarthy rated rookie card. Get the hashtag Skols in the comments, like the video, and subscribe if you have not already. But gotta fix a lot of stuff. Yeah, I didn't see any of the injury update on camera. What was the Ivan Pace? I didn't have time to check any of that today.
O'Connell said during his press conference it's the same foot that he was on the injury report a couple weeks ago, but did hint that he thinks that he avoided anything major. Should be about the same time frame. So I mean, I would say very safe bet he's out there next week. Ivan Pace, a different story. We'll talk about a little more in depth later.
Dang, that's crazy because I haven't had a chance to look yet, so I don't even know. But that doesn't sound good.
I mean, it's the hamstring. He didn't really say much about him today, but you just have a feeling with a hamstring that it's probably not looking great.
Dang, that's not good. But just getting more into this game, dude, is just obviously, did not end like for the most part. This game, it felt like we were going to leave this game like, all right, we beat this team all 4 quarters. It wasn't perfect on either side of the ball all 4 quarters, but we definitely beat them on both sides of the balls all 4 quarters. And then we thought this game was going to be over, and we're going to be like, okay, that was like our best game in the last 4. And then, the craziness happened. Ultimately, I mean, just kind of going through it how much time was it? Less than 2 minutes. What was the time?
There was like a minute and 20 seconds.
A minute and 20 seconds. We're up by 11 points. Kick it down the field. They get like a 50-yard return. End up obviously scoring a touchdown, getting the 2-point conversion with 22 seconds left. Kicks an onside kick. Speaking of Nick Muse getting
Johnny Mont.
I was going to say Nick Muse's birthday today, and he also gets cut today. When honestly, we should be asking questions about Johnny Mont because he almost single-handedly fucked us yesterday. But yeah, anyways, the onside kick hits him. They get the ball back with 17 seconds left or whatever it was. One throw, gets in field goal position. Like, that is crazy. That is absolutely crazy.
And winning the overtime coin toss.
And winning the overtime coin toss.
All of those things happen.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
It's crazy. One of the most improbable things you'll see.
And the story, that is a big part of the storyline. But the bigger storyline is they had all the momentum in the world. Like, all the momentum you could possibly ask for. If you do that, then you own all the momentum. And our defense goes out there, stop them. Our offense goes down there led by Sam Darnold, goes down the field and wins this game for us. There is a silver lining because we have not been in a position like that this year. And that's the difference between a good regular season team, a good playoff team, and a good Super Bowl, like an actual Super Bowl contender. And the Vikings showed that, when push comes to shove, when momentum's not on your side at all, and you need to go and do what you got to do on both sides of the ball to win this game, they showed that in this one and did it. So even though it was as ugly as it was and was almost an absolute disaster, arguably one of the worst, biggest disasters in regular season history for the Vikings, ended up being like showing kind of like the grit that this team actually has. George Blunt, let's go, my guy. We play to win the game. GG, brothers. Let's go. GG's, baby. GG's. We got 9 GG's this week or this year. But still, so that's huge. So that's a huge silver lining there, though. Otherwise, we would have had a really good game. Just that one little stretch was almost like one of the probably best comebacks in the history of football there. So I don't know. What's any more thoughts on just this overall roller coaster, scary game?
The ultimate frustration game. Honestly, I was talking. One of my coworkers is a Bears fan. We were talking about that. Just like the odds that they were able to, with under a minute and a half, drive down the field, touchdown, 2-point conversion, onside kick, crazy. Field goal, win the coin toss. Like, all of that is absolutely ridiculous. I honestly thought when they recovered the onside kick, I thought game was over. I'm like, we're losing this game. Like, there's too many things going against us right now. But Kevin O'Connell and Big Raylan, I'm going to disagree with you here. Kevin O'Connell has proven time and time again that he can coach this team to do just this. When things get tough, they sack up and they just go get the job done. And that's it's been a staple of what Kevin O'Connell has done since he's been here. Like, say what you will about him as an offensive play caller. I think I was talking with my dad yesterday, and he said he should be a play caller, not a head coach. I love Kevin O'Connell, the head coach. I think he's a phenomenal leader of men. And this team takes on the attitude of Kevin O'Connell, just the tough, stick by everything that they do and just go win football games. So I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a lot of credit to go around in a game like this, as frustrating as it was. But with all those things going against you, this team easily could have folded in overtime, and they didn't. Huge stop, thanks to a Caleb Williams, what the hell are you doing type play where he just stands back there, let Grenard get to him, and then just the big balls drive by Sam Darnold in the offense. But the question I got to ask is, they didn't.
What up, Dalton? By the way.
I thought they kicked the field goal to go up 2 scores, right?
All we had to do was kick the field goal and go up 3 scores, but no, KOC goes for a fourth.
I
No,
don't
I
remember
don't
what
think
play
so.
that. I don't remember what play that was because I
When he
mean
went
the
for
one
it
I
on
remember
fourth,
is we tried to go for it on 4th and 1. We would have ended the game there.
Yeah,
We're already
yeah,
up
yeah,
8.
Yeah.
We would have ended the game.
I
had we
respected that
down.
play. Yeah,
I did.
I would say
Yes.
I liked it. That fourth and 1 call. That's what I want to see out of Kevin O'Connell.
But this right here, but the call itself is where you can kind of scratch your head. Like, yeah, it's like lining up shotgun and all that. Like lining up shotgun, when you need 1 yard. Sam Darnold has been an amazing quarterback quarterback. Like, yeah, and again, and that's it. But that has also been an issue that we have seen time and time again with Kevin O'Connell, and you can point that out. Is his third, fourth, and short play calling is sometimes something you can question, especially on a drive where you had what's his name, Aaron Jones was running bonkers on that drive plus Sam Darnold. So again, would like to see a different play call at that spot, but it is what it is, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, because I don't know, just on that, because even with this big rail in, take the points. See, that's the thing is, like, we've done that with KOC, where he takes the field goal and we're up by, we're less than a touchdown. We're less than a touchdown, and we end up kicking a field goal, and now we're up by 6 points instead of 7, or something like that. Like, I don't know. I like
that, wasn't it?
What's that?
The Lions game was kind of an example of that.
Yeah, that was an example of that. Yeah, it's just you're playing too afraid. Like, I think sometimes you just got to go for a fourth. I mean, if the analytics say like this is a go for it because your probability of getting it is great, I want you to do that. You need to have balls in this. You can't go for 3 every time. In my opinion, I don't think you only it depends on how high you are up. Obviously, like this. The second time we were on 4th down and we're trying to draw them off sides, like there you obviously take points because we were up by 8. So that puts us up by 11. But so I don't know. So I think there's situations for that, but I do think in that situation specifically, I think you go for it on 4th. I respected him to do that. Though I know the one problem is like if you ran the ball up the middle, even though I know that's what we had to do, there was a lot of times like it seemed like the Bears defense, anytime they knew we were going to run, especially up the gut, they blew that shit up every time. And Kevin O'Connell Kevin O'Connell called a timeout during that play because I'm assuming just because he didn't like what he saw from the defense compared to like what the play he was going to call, which I assumed was going to be some sort of run. I would have said you should have probably done some sort of tush push, something like that. Or at the very least, again, not have an empty set where it's just like, okay, the only option the defense has to worry about is the throw. So I would say that play call ultimately was not good there, but I like the 4th and 1 call. You got to just have some balls in this.
Yeah. And yes, Darnold on that play as well could have stepped up, probably ran for the first down himself. Yeah. These are all hindsight things, right? Like if you lose the game, it's a lot bigger, it's a lot more concerning and something you're going to scratch your head on more. When you win, it is what it is. It's just another play.
How about damn near 9 plays in a row without a yard? Like, get the fuck out of there after that big Addison play. Yeah, that was. Yep. That's one thing about the Bears defense too that you do have to consider is that their secondary is their red zone defense has been the best in the NFL this year. So Sarah, it's like
we're not complaining. We're just being like you have to look at the negatives when you win games too. It's just.
I mean, you got to just say what it is, but I mean, overall, yeah, we are 9-2, but you have to go through the bad and the goods. I mean, it is what it is.
And why not start off with the bad so we can get to all the good later?
Yeah, facts.
It's kind of the plan.
Sarah, I know you're not talking. Anyways, so again, everybody in here, giving away the JJ McCarthy rated rookie card. Get the hashtag Skols in the comments, like the video, and subscribe. We'll get into our winners and losers of this roller coaster game. I'm going to kind of go through some stats real quick before we do that, just to kind of take another peek of how everybody did in this game.
Darren, what's up, my man? Hey,
what's going on,
Sniper, baby? Game winner.
Soul Patch Sniper. Yeah, I know. I mean, hey, we had both kicking options have been big for us this year. That's for sure.
Well, and the good thing is at least now, like you can wait until Reichert is 110% healthy because you know that you got the right leg out there with John Parker almost. So there's no need to rush Reichert back, which is kind of a big thing.
Going through these stats, you got Sam Darnold, 22 for 34, 330 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 116.1 rate. Nick Mullins coming in for 2 plays and reminding us why he is our backup quarterback and trying to do whatever he can to not let Danny Dimes sneak in there. Aaron Jones, you got 22 attempts, 106 yards. Obviously, we're going to get into him more later, and a touchdown. Solid game. Obviously not perfect. Jordan Addison, monster. 8 receptions, 162 yards, 1 touchdown. TJ, 7 receptions, 114 yards. JJ, only 2 receptions, 27 yards. Doesn't tell the whole story, of course. You even got Aaron Jones, 3 receptions, 23 yards. On the other side of the ball, you got Byron Murphy, tackle for 2 for tackle for loss, plus out. Really, really, really nice stop in the backfield. Huge pivotal one. Harrison Smith with 11 total tackles. You got a sack from Andrew Van Ginkel, of course, my boy, 9 sacks on the season. And Jonathan Grenard, who's just, every single week. And Blake Cashman right under him. Like these 3 every week. We can just talk about those signings all the time, every time.
Signings are like absolutely, like when you go back and look at it, one of the best free agent classes in the league. I mean, if not the best. Like what those 3 have done for this defense is like studs. It's phenomenal.
Just looking at the other side, Caleb Williams with 340 yards. That's not going to help our passing.
No, yards and man, Caleb Williams is going to be something to do. I mean, we got to talk good about the opponent. I mean, you and I both loved him coming out of college. He was our number 1 quarterback. We saw a lot of the reasons why yesterday, and he's only going to continue to get better as this team progresses. So, Caleb Williams, give him all the credit in the world. What a game! What a game! What a player! Game. It's going to be tough to contend with that guy for the next 10 to 15 years.
Yep. Run game could not do shit against us because our run game has been massive other than Caleb Williams a couple times there. DJ Moore, 7 receptions, 105. Keenan Allen. So, not great overall performance by our secondary. Keeping on going here, though, I do have some PFF stuff just to look at real quick. We got Jordan Addison at the top, 87.4. Sam Darnold, 84.7. TJ Hawkinson, 80.7. Brian O'Neill, 77.7. My boy, CJ Ham, 72.6. Going from the bottom, Brandon Powell, 42.6, including a illegal clip on their defender that could have. I mean, if he doesn't do that, does Justin Jefferson score? I mean, there's still a good chance he does, but Johnny Munt, 45.7. Not surprised there. Cam Robinson injured, but 58.8. Jalen Naylor, 51.8. Had a touchdown, had some drops. David Quisenberry, 53. Going to the defensive side of the ball here. Take a peek at how everything looks over there. You got Jonathan Grenard, of course, at the top here with 87.2. Stephon Gilmore, 75. Jonathan Ballard, 74.2. Harrison Smith, 67.2. Jerry Tillery with the block on special teams, 66.8. And then from the bottom, Pat Jones doesn't have the same impact he did a week ago with 37.4. Blake Cashman, 42.9. Cam Bynum, 45.1. 46.2 out of Kamu Grugier-Hill. And then Shaq Griffin with the 47 there.
And unfortunately for me, those aren't the numbers that matter this week, really. Before we get into more Vikings-related stuff.
Oh, actually.
Go ahead and bring it up. I'll prep. I'll prep while you get it going there.
All right. So of course, just like every week starting now, we are doing the underdog thing, me versus Casey, every single week, every single Thursday. We do our draft. If anybody's been in here and hasn't seen this yet, I did win. I am Gilly Gambles on here. I did win. Grand Panda, that is Casey. My squad. It wasn't really completely pretty. I got Christian McCaffrey, not much. We had some good picks here. Justin Jefferson didn't do much for me. And Granda, Panda, Casey, Jaden Daniels, Devon A. Chain. I ended up taking the victory 89-80 in a close one here. Which means y'all know.
This thing fits nicely though. It looks really good.
Kind of y'all read
a little bit.
Everybody, you gotta look at that. Look at that. Casey, I suck at drafting. Jamie is number 1. Jamie is number 1. That's what we're talking about. I feel like I'm going to be wearing
this thing a lot this year. Fantasy football, especially this type of stuff, not always my forte, but hey.
My plan is to not wear that shirt a single time this year. What up, Adam?
What's going on, Adam?
My guy.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. We'll just take the attention off the shirt.
All right. Anyways, yeah, moving on here. Let's get into our winners and losers from this game. Our stud and duds. Starting with the duds. Like we said, you got to talk about the bad. You got to talk about the the Like, what is this if you
Only
don't talk
so
about
you
the bad?
can get to the good, though, at the end of the day.
Yeah, but we start with the bad on purpose. Exactly. So with our first dud of the game, we talked about this guy already, and just this defense containing Caleb Williams. Obviously, like you said, he had 330 yards passing with 36 yards on the ground or whatever. We just could not get home. Yes, Grenard got him sacked twice. Andrew Van Ginkel got credited for a sack, but really it was just Caleb Williams running on the sideline behind the line of scrimmage, and then Grenard's, I could have sacked Caleb Williams on that last sack if he's going to stand up there for so long. So really, the pressure was coming. He was able to escape and use his legs to extend plays, and we just could not get home to him in this game. And this is the first time I've really watched Caleb Williams this year, and he had a couple throws that were absolutely completely insane and totally reminded me of why he went number 1 overall in this draft. And I would say this game the big thing that takeaways from this game for me is if this dude gets any better and he learns how to play out, and he looked improved out of the pocket. He was better out of the pocket than I was expecting, honestly. And then ultimately, like what he did to us to bring this game into overtime, he looked good. He looked good, yeah. And he could be a problem.
Yeah, and I do think because we said it going into the game, sack Caleb Williams, keep him in the pocket, because I believe the week before this he had 70 rushing yards. He did hold him to 33, but he was able to break out of the pocket a couple times. Obviously, there was a huge play where Van Ginkel whiffed on a sack, and he had that beautiful toss down the field to DeAndre Swift. And there's a couple where you did kind of get some pressure, but he was able to gun it in there. He had a couple throws where it's like that could have been easy interceptions, but his arm strength really gunned it through the defenders for the catch. And the big thing for me was the Ivan Pace injury, because I thought going into this game, Pace would have kind of been the spy on him to make sure, because Ivan Pace, not great in coverage, but what that guy can do at the line of scrimmage in the run game and even getting after the quarterback is huge. I personally think if Ivan Pace is in there, I think there's a couple of those plays where Williams isn't able to escape out of the pocket and make a play downfield. So I think we were feeling the hurt of Ivan Pace having the injury early on, and it affected the rest of the game, and Caleb Williams was able to do Caleb Williams things. I'm not saying that he wouldn't have been able to do those things without Ivan Pace in there, but Ivan Pace would have been a huge help in that quarterback spy game. But and unfortunately, I guess we'll get into that in a bit here. But yeah, keeping Caleb Williams in the pocket, not a strength of this game.
No.
And honestly, it doesn't get any.
Just continue.
Yeah, and as we talked about, the injuries. I mean, Pace going out. Then you got Cam Robinson with the foot, who it sounds like he'll be just fine. That was kind of it. But those are two pretty hefty injuries when you talk about them. Especially, like, if you want to talk about what Ivan Pace can do at the line of scrimmage and think how much he could help out when you get a scrambling type quarterback. And I lost Jamie. I bet he'll be back. But the big thing that really concerns me. Oh, there you are. About this Ivan Pace loss is, yes, Caleb Williams was able to get out of the pocket, but this gets no easier next week. Next week, you got Kyler Murray, who is one of the. I thought people asking for or thinking the Cardinals are going to get rid of Kyler Murray was a little bit premature. I like Kyler Murray. I think he's a really good quarterback, and he's showing it this year. Yeah, they didn't do much yesterday, but if you want to talk about having to contain Caleb Williams, try containing Kyler Murray, and it's going to suck not having. If Ivan Pace's hamstring keeps him out any longer than just this week, it's really, really going to hurt us not having him against that offense in Arizona. Then obviously Cam Robinson filled in admirably for Darisaw, been playing well. Hopefully, I think he will be back next week. But also, Quessenberry came in and played pretty well in replacement. So sucks with all the injuries, but hopefully the Pace one is the one I'm concerned about the most. Just because it is a hamstring with the team we're going up against, it'd be huge to have him against Kyler Murray and that Cardinals team.
Yeah. Obviously, that sucks bad. And then Cam Robinson, like you said, it sounds like things will be okay with him. And obviously, Ivan Pace Jr. has been an instant fan favorite since last offseason and going into the entire year. I mean, especially our people in here in general, the Purple Gang. Ivan Pace is kind of like, you could like argue that Ivan Pace is kind of like the face of the Purple Gang in a sense, because of how like his come up kind of came up with the Purple Gang whole thing. So it does suck to see him injured, and hopefully it isn't too long, because I would like to see him on the field. I felt like he was a player that has kind of turned things around this year. Earlier in the season, you know, he was getting beat up in coverage, and you weren't seeing him a lot in the pass rush and things like that. We just weren't really pass rushing him, but I felt like as the season progressed, you know, we were seeing his impact more and more and more. So yeah, this one's a brutal one. And then Cam Robinson's obviously, you know, that would suck if he's out for extended period of time with everything that happened with Darius, us making the trade. And if we lose 2 left tackles, that'd be crazy. So hopefully that does not happen. But oh, you already did this one. JK should kidnap Wolverine. Yeah, facts. Yeah, and of course, everybody, again, another show, another JJ McCarthy rookie card. Get the hashtag Skols in the comments. Like the video. We only have 8 likes. Like the video and subscribe if you have not already. Appreciate it big time. But giving away this card at the end of the show. So get those hashtag Skols in the comments. Keeping it on going here.
Viewers, 8 likes, ridiculous, guys. Do better. Come on.
Get them likes in here. Get them likes in here. All right, let's keep on rolling, though, to our last dud. We didn't have a tons this game. There's just that one disaster part of this. We had to put this one on here, which is special teams. You know, at the end of that game, minute 20 left or whatever, and you allow a 50-yard return, and including Soul Patch Sniper. That was hit, right? That was a kickoff, correct? Yes. So Will Reichard gets that tackle every time. I'm sorry. Like, I like Soul Patch Sniper, but I know Will Reichard crushes Andre Carter, I believe is his name.
Yeah, give it to the rookie Dallas Turner for chasing him down. I mean that speed.
4.4 speed Dallas Turner chase.
Full display there.
Yeah, that big ass dude chasing his ass down.
But obviously, you can say something like special teams was very up and down. I mean, they did have the blocked field goal early on, second in a row for the Bears kicker. But yeah, in the fourth quarter, the special teams almost single-handedly destroyed this game for us. I mean, putting the defense on a short field, and then the snafu on the onside kick. You can't have that type of stuff for a winning football team. Special teams has been solid most of the year outside of the return game, which hasn't gotten a lot going. And obviously we did, recover the muff punt on their end, but yeah, just that fourth quarter, man, like I said, almost single-handedly ruining this game for this team when the whole team had played pretty solid the whole day. Like, you can't have that. And I mean, they'll get it cleaned up. They will. I mean, the special teams doesn't make the dud list often, but those 2 plays were real. I mean, if you lose this game, you 100% are blaming this loss on special teams. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
They got lucky that the offense and the defense in overtime and the offense in overtime was able to kind of bail them out a little bit, but
hey, welcome in, Lorenzo. Welcome in. I was about to say shout out to Turner. Yeah, dude, we're not seeing a lot of Turner. I would say his rookie year has kind of been this wave of like, hey, he's getting playing time. Now it's taken away, like all these things. But you can, his size, speed, and strength thing is just absolutely insane. So hopefully he turns into who we want him to be.
And it would be different if we didn't have Grenard and Van Ginkel and Pat Jones playing well when he does. Like, if we didn't have that and Dallas Turner still wasn't getting snaps, then I'm going to be a little bit more concerned. But the fact that he's playing behind these guys, he's still getting on the field, and he's getting on the field in weighty downs. Like, there was some big-time moments where you saw 15 on the field. Like, he's going to be just fine. They trust him. It's just he's in a loaded group, and that's what we need to remember.
But let's get into some studs here. Enough of this negativity, because we are, at the end of the day, insane to keep saying this, but we're 9-2. Vikings are 9-2. So we got to talk about what was good here. I do have the biggest loser poll up, and I have injuries containing Caleb, special teams, and other. We're sitting at 43% on injuries. Yeah, obviously, for a team like us, injuries is going to be pretty brutal, but I'll leave that up while we go through some of these. For the first stud, special teams, right? You got you had Tillery with the blocked field goal, which was absolutely huge. We don't see a lot of that in the NFL, and seeing him do that was massive. And honestly, it looked like they were afraid to kick all day because how we were handling their offensive line, particularly in that situation. And then, of course, Andre Carter going back to him, even though he kind of made up for it. It wouldn't even be a muff. Let the ball hit his leg. Our boy Bo Richter ends up picking it up and getting a huge turnover in that game. I would say, like, you could argue special teams is the reason why we won, almost lost, this whole thing. But we did have to put them on both sides here because that was the best special teams performance. And then ultimately you have Soul Patch Sniper,
just and what a sequence that was, earlier on there where you had the Keenan Allen it was third and whatever. Keenan Allen got down into the red zone. Kevin O'Connell challenges it. The refs find his foot was out of bounds. We block the field goal, and then we go score a touchdown. That is an elite sequence right there. Kevin O'Connell, you got to get, I don't think he's on our list this week for ups or for studs, but you do got to give him credits. That challenge flag, he's been using it. He's been using it effectively this year, especially in a spot like that. One thing I did think was weird though, is that they mentioned on the broadcast with the sideline cams up above, they said not all stadiums have those. So had there been a definitive look from that above sideline cam that Addison stepped out of bounds, they couldn't have used that camera because not all stadiums have that. So they have to keep it fair, which to me, it's 2024 and you're a multi-billion-dollar industry in the NFL. You should have camera angles at every yard line, every angle of the field. How we can still be this far into this thing with how much money the NFL brings in.
Right. Soldier Field can't even fix their field, let alone getting extra cameras, But hey, that's on them.
One of them. What the hell?
Yeah.
Whatever.
US Bank Stadium probably has every camera you could possibly imagine. So,
but it's the 2024 in the NFL. Fix that. Come on.
You'd think so. Anyways. But hey, in that case, I don't know. I think he was in. So fuck them. Going to our next winner in this game. We got to talk about this guy here. You're up against one of the best secondaries in the league. The number one red zone defense, allowing the least passing touchdowns of just 0.7 passing touchdowns per game. Sam Darnold ends up with 2. There's probably a chance he could have ended up with more. Sam Darnold, and obviously, everything that happened to the end or towards the end there, but I'll kind of let you just talk about some Sam Darnold right now.
Yeah, and I see Darren's comment here, the thing, and he does hold on to the ball too long at times, which can be an issue. But the thing that I like, it's just, I thought the Tennessee game was his best game, and this game, I know, into the third quarter, he was completing about 50% of his passes, wasn't looking great. He made some big throws. He also missed a few, stood in the pocket too long. And the thing I do like though is that he got out of the pocket and just got rid of the ball when he had to. But during that game yesterday, I saw some tweets, one of them from someone who used to frequent our comment section here on our live streams. I haven't seen him in a while for whatever reason, but he said during this game, Sam Darnold is so ass. I saw multiple people saying that Darnold wasn't playing that well. I had seen in weeks past, I saw someone on Twitter say that that Sam Darnold is mentally weak. None of those things. It's so obvious that none of those things are true. A mentally weak quarterback, after what happened in that Jacksonville game against the next two defenses, they don't do what 100. Sam Darnold just did. You're not mentally strong after, mentally weak quarterbacks fold after a game where they throw 3 interceptions and they don't throw a single touchdown. To say that Sam Darnold is ass and he sucks and needs to be cut and we're just tired of him, it's all so, and I know it's not the whole fan base. I think it's just a small portion, but Sam Darnold and just the way he bounced back after that, rough 2-game stretch to me has been phenomenal. And that last drive in overtime was absolutely ballsy. He stood in the pocket when there was pressure in his face. He made big time throws downfield. 330 yards, 116.1 quarterback rating. Sam Darnold's him, man. And it probably won't be here, but Sam Darnold's going to make a lot of money next season. He's going to, he's going to get paid. I don't think we're going to be able to afford to keep him, even if we wanted to. But
no, not with JJ McCarthy plan. There's no chance.
I don't know, man. Just the way that I have so much respect for the way that this guy.
I got you, Roger. It's on its way.
I just have so much respect for the way that Sam Darnold has bounced back after that rough 2-game stretch. The dude's obviously he's a number 3 overall pick. He's got talent. And now he's showing, Kevin O'Connell's done a great job coaching him up as well, but he's got it between the ears, man. If he has the right coach and the right system and the right scenario to be in, This dude can go toe to toe with any quarterback in the league, and he's throwing a confident football. And you love to see it, man. You love to see a guy after that rough 2-game stretch when people during the game were saying to bench him, like, nah, Sam Darnold's a tough dude, tough quarterback. What a game,
dude. 100%.
And again, it didn't even start out that pretty. He was 50% until the second quarter, but in the fourth quarter and in overtime, he stepped up when he needed to, which we've seen him do multiple times this year.
One thing I do want to remind everybody is Casey sucks at drafting and Jamie's number 1, just to remind everybody in here. Now, no, I have to agree with, like, the biggest thing, the most impressive thing. I said it in the beginning of the season, especially, I think I said it after the Houston Texans game, where it was like, I'm just now, like, we seen what he did to Houston. We seen how everything, like, the first 3 games were great. Giants, San Francisco, but it was going to be like Sam Darnold is going to have a bad game. And you could argue he's had a few bad games. I do think that a couple of his bad games, I don't think he had a completely terrible game up until that Jaguars game, but we said, like, it's all going to be about how he bounces back. That's how we're going to find out about Sam Darnold. That's why after that Jaguars game, I wasn't ready to be like, oh, start Nick Mullins, bench Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's trash. Like, I wasn't ready to do that because I said in the beginning, like, he's going to have a really bad game. Every quarterback has at least one. I mean, a lot of quarterbacks at least have one really bad game in a season. So I wanted to see, this is a big test. I wanted to see what he does when he bounces back. And now he's arguably had 2 of his best games in back-to-backs this season. Tennessee game ends up with 3 tutties and obviously 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, no turnovers after having 5 turnovers in those 2 games, and then comes in here and puts this team on his back, like I said, when the momentum was completely against us, and goes down in overtime and puts us in position to win. And then I do agree with a lot of people, like, he does hold the ball a lot. There is times where he does kind of, like, he eyes a lot of receivers. I know there's a couple times, like the first drive when we almost scored on the Aaron Jones fumble, he ends up throwing to, I think it was Hawk, right to the left, right before the Aaron Jones play, when Jordan Addison was getting wide open. He kind of just spied on Jordan. So that could have been another passing touchdown for him. One thing I did see good, I forgot which part of the game it was. I think it was either in overtime. I think it was in overtime when he had, I forgot who he was eyeing someone short to the right, and then someone was on him. So then he looks back to Aaron Jones for, like, just a little short dump pass. And that was, like, an example of, like, yes, that is what you need to do as a starting quarterback here. And that's the thing, is, like, I've said this too, is Sam Darnold's 26 years old. Like, he's young, and he has, like, he deserves room to grow still. It seems like he's been around forever, but at 26 years old, some quarterbacks don't even hit their like ceiling until they're, like, in their 30s. So he still has time to even get better. I still don't think it's with us, but right. I do think in the right situation, like you said, I mean, Sam Darnold could have this could be a legit comeback in his career that we are witnessing right now in the Vikings.
Yeah. And I will say, Big Raylan, I think this is actually something that's made him so effective these last 2 games. He has stopped doing that. I mean, and we saw it and we'll obviously get into it. I mean, spoiler alert, we'll get into it more as it kind of comes up here. But I mean, I personally think we've seen less of him throwing to Justin Jefferson in triple coverage. Like, I think he's been doing a phenomenal job of
this game specifically,
opening up the rest of the offense.
Yeah, in this game, obviously, you can look at the stats to see how he did not just focus on Justin Jefferson, and he was able to use Justin Jefferson as bait in a lot of ways, and kind of like that. Like, any team that watches this game and looks back, like, you got to be worried, because now your game plan has to be around Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson 100%. Otherwise, they're going to drop 300 on your ass. So that's a huge.
Right. And Jefferson has said that, which, I mean, should we just go to the next one? I assume I know what's next. Since we're kind of talking about it anyway.
I don't know if we don't have Justin Jefferson on here, but Jordan Addison. Yeah.
No, I know. But Jordan Addison, 8 catches, 162, the huge, what should have been called pass interference, but wasn't, but the huge catch downfield on an absolute dime by Sam Darnold, ends up with 1 touchdown, which was another great play by Darnold there as well. But I guess, I mean, I know you're the biggest you're the biggest Jordan Addison guy that I know. So I'll let you really get into what he does so well. But something I did want to point out, since we're talking about Jefferson, is they showed there's multiple pictures around Twitter today, just the way that they're defending Justin Jefferson. And Kevin O'Connell said it last week that No one defends other receivers the way that teams defend Justin Jefferson. And we saw that yesterday, right? And Jefferson, even coming into this game, said himself, like, hey, if they want to keep covering me like that, then eventually Addison, Hawkinson, those guys are going to start eating. And this was the game where we finally saw that happen, right? Jefferson, 2 catches for 27 yards on how many targets? Was it like 5 targets? 5 targets, 2 catches, 27 yards. 8 catches for Addison, 7 for Hawkinson. Almost what, 200 almost 280 yards between the two of them, of Sam Darnold's 330 passing yards. You won't be able to keep doing this going forward. If in this game, I mean, I don't know if it'll change right away, but if these type of games keep being had by Addison, teams are eventually going to have to shift their focus. Like, they're not going to be able to triple cover Justin Jefferson, because you can't be letting 2 other receivers, or another receiver and a tight end, 2 other pass catchers, start going over 100 against you consistently. So this is what eventually Justin Jefferson might not be eating now, but when eventually teams need to start shifting some focus to Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson, JJ is going to end up with a lot more one-on-ones. And that's where I will not be surprised if in the next 2-3 games here, we see a couple 100, maybe 150 plus yard games from Justin Jefferson, when eventually teams realize exactly you're going to have to start shifting the focus, because Jordan Addison's a first round pick. He almost had 1,000 yards last year. He had 10 touchdowns. Jordan Addison is one of as talented as they come, right? And we're finally starting to see that connection between Darnold and Addison be built. So as Addison keeps getting yards, man, they're going to have to change up the coverages, and JJ's going to start eating. Justin Jefferson will get his yards at the end of the day. And this right here is what is best for this offense. When Jefferson might be covered, these guys are producing, and Sam Darnold is spreading the football around the field. And when the run game is good, which we'll talk about in a bit here as well, this is when this offense is going to be at its best. And we're finally starting to see that happen now, and it's happening at the right time, because I fully trust that what we saw yesterday was fluky from the special teams and the defense. We've seen this defense struggle at times, and they bounce back. I'm 100% confident this defense is going to be just fine. Special teams is just fine. The offense is the thing we want to see keep growing. And I think we're finally starting to see the beginning of all this happening, where Hawkinson, Addison are finally getting the chemistry with Darnold. We know Justin Jefferson has it. I think this is the start. This is the jumping off point for this offense, I think this is where this offense really starts to hit its stride, especially if the run game can keep producing. But anyway, that's enough of all that. Go ahead and you put your boy here.
Oh, just to answer this, Dane. What up, Dane, by the way? Wait until we play the Cardinals. This will be the last time to try what the Bears did, which is just try to focus on Justin Jefferson, is how I'm taking that. And yeah, dude, I 100% agree. And that's just talk about Justin Jefferson real quick. Justin Jefferson made an impact in this game, though. I would say, he needs to touch the ball no matter what. I don't care if it's a screen. I don't care if he even throws the ball. I don't give a shit. He needs to touch the ball some way, somehow. I don't think the fact that he ended up with 2 receptions, there's no scenario where I feel like that is okay. You got to get him the ball some way, somehow. But in this one specifically, they were guarding him a lot. He had a couple plays. One, he should have had a touchdown. He almost had 2 touchdowns. The penalty, all these things. But ultimately, all these one-on-ones versus TJ Hawkinson, all these one-on-ones versus Jordan Addison, 2 of the best. TJ Hawkinson is one of the best players at his position. Jordan Addison, skill-wise, I really believe he's a top 20 wide receiver in the NFL. And I am a big Jordan Addison fan. I am kind of biased, but we all see. I don't know. I haven't looked in a while at the separation percentage or separation rate, but he was leading or up there in the top of the league for a while. And we've known that. And it's just Sam Darnold wasn't really looking at him. And now we can know what can happen when you do that. And Jordan Addison's always open. And he's had a touchdown. He had a touchdown last week. He should have had 2 touchdowns. Like I said, he destroyed the defender on that first drive that led to Aaron Jones. He was wide open, just absolutely destroyed on that route, and would have had another touchdown. And Jordan Addison is just a special player, and it should make everybody just, not just right now, just for the future. We have Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, and Justin Jefferson for the next 4 or 5 years. So I don't know. I'm super excited the way he played. And like we've said, 100. What was his yards again?
162.
Yeah, 162, 8 receptions, and his touchdown. Has his best game of his career, especially from a yards wise. But just Hey, by the way, the Black L Bundy's in the building. What's up, my guy? Just like Dane said at the top here about like the Cardinals might be the last team to try that. Like, what do you do though? Like if you come in here, that's what I was saying. If you watch our tape and you come into any of these next games and like now it's not all about Justin Jefferson. If you come in here and you only worry about Justin Jefferson, you're gonna get fucked up on, dude.
You're gonna adjust, and that's when you're gonna start seeing Jefferson. He's gonna have to start getting some one-on-ones. So I mean, it's gonna open it up for him. Like Justin Jefferson eventually is gonna get hits, and I promise you, we'll get. I bet you we'll get at least 2 Justin Jefferson 150 plus yard games in the next what are we 9-2 is 11 6 games. In the next 6 games, we'll get a couple of those, and JJ is going to keep producing. He's going to figure out ways to make it happen. Kevin O'Connell, yes, I do think he needs to just get some plays. I mean, you got to let him touch the ball. I mean, like you said, we've seen what he can do on a short slant route. Like you got to let him start doing that type of stuff. But this might be the game where maybe this was part of the game plan. Like Justin, we're not going to use you much this game, but the other 2 guys are gonna feast here. They're gonna put up big yardage, and it's only gonna help you in the next 6 games. So I don't know, man. As long as we can keep playing consistently, I'm excited to see where this offense can go because as we said coming into this year, that's why you and I did not think this was going to be a throwaway year because this team was far too talented to be a 6-win football team. Like
facts.
Yeah, but another big reason why the pass game was working so well, and this offense is clicking so well yesterday.
And that is the tight end that we talked about, TJ Hawkinson. Obviously, he kind of had a slow start. He's been ramping up. Actually, let me go check to see what his snap count was in this game. Because I think in Tennessee, he had like 49% or something like that. So let me check this out real quick. TJ Hawkinson played a total of 48 snaps. So still not a ton. It looks like 69, about 70, 71 was the top. So he played over 50% this week. So it is his play time is increasing. We didn't see a lot of them in the first half. We've seen a ton of them in the second half. We've seen a shitload of him in overtime. And he really was he's ultimately the receiver that really opened everything up in overtime at the end of the fourth quarter, all these things. And man, it's so good to see him back and healthy and just the same old TJ Hawkinson. You always worry after an injury like that. Is he going to be the same person? We just gave him a contract, all these things, and he's coming in and he's playing fearless, really fearless. And I would say we saw that last week when he got hit right into the fucking leg and he stood up and he still wants to come back out and play. So TJ Hawkinson is huge. And I mean, we've already, stressed a lot about how big the big 3 on this offense is. And hopefully we just see the same thing continuing out throughout the rest of the season, because this talent, like we talk about, is this a playoff team? Well, this is definitely a playoff team. We're 9-2, we're making playoffs, but can they do anything in playoffs? Are they a contender? Well, when our offense is playing like this, and if we go into this next Arizona game and then they pull off of JJ because they know that they have to worry about Addison and TJ, and we take full advantage of that situation, something that I felt like we haven't really been able to do yet this season, especially with TJ not being back yet. Like, I still don't think we've seen what this offense's ceiling is yet. I think that we know this offense's ceiling as soon as everybody has to respect the TJ Hawkinson and Jordan Addison on offense. That's when we find out what this offense is really about. And when we do see that, I do think we can talk about, again, potentially being more than just a playoff team.
Yeah. Delton, Kevin O'Connell he sounded pretty optimistic in his press conference today. He said it was the same foot he dealt with a couple weeks ago, but he says it sounded like he said he thinks he should be fine. So I'm guessing we'll probably we'll see him back against Arizona.
Yeah. Dan Nor's in the building. What's going on, my guys? Too evil, my dude. Let's go. Yes, of course, everybody. JJ McCarthy rookie card giveaway. Hashtag Skols in the comments. Like the video and subscribe if you have not already. But we've talked about TJ Hawkinson a lot. It's exciting to see those two go off the way they did. And it does make you just so excited to see what everything's going to look like for us moving forward here. But keeping on going here, because we have spent a lot of time on all this stuff. Aaron Jones. So obviously, ends up having, we might as well start with the duds. We've been doing all game. Comes in, starts off you could argue that was the best start of a game he's had as a Viking, and he's had some good starts so far this year. ends up coming down and fumbling the ball at the 1 yard line. Just wasn't going down. I get it. But at that point, like eventually you're just like, all right, just go down. Even though that's true. And then we didn't see much of him for the second and third quarter. And then he comes out swinging again with 22 attempts, 106 yards, a touchdown. And like I said, 3 receptions for 23 yards. I would say he had a bounce back in a game after that fumble. So that was huge. You could see how upset he was for that to happen, but I'll let you take over from here.
I mean, I guess I just want to look at the run game in general. Like Aaron Jones, and I think you had the stats coming into this game, how the middle of their defensive line was not great against the run. And we saw that. We were getting, Aaron Jones ended with 4.8 per carry. Akers ended with 6.3 per carry on 3 carries. I still think you need to split the carries up a little bit more. I do think Akers needs a little more work. Aaron Jones, you want him to be healthy, especially going into the playoffs. But either way, this, again, offenses, you need to have a balanced offense. And sometimes, I think we talked about it on Bleacher Report yesterday, I do think sometimes the reason our offense can stall sometimes is A, the run game isn't effective, but B, when it is working, sometimes, that's another knock on O'Connell at times, is he does like to go away from the run game probably just a little bit too soon. Because there were some times yesterday where I do think running the ball would have helped. But when Aaron Jones is running the way that he's running, again, you want to talk about the pass game, the marriage of the run and the pass. Like that is what makes an offense elite, especially with all the weapons we have. And that was a classic Aaron Jones game. We need to see more of this throughout the rest of the season. And I know someone in the chat has to know. I know I just saw it before we hopped on here. I saw it on Twitter. Because we hadn't had a second half rushing touchdown in like 27 straight games or straight second halves or something. Who was the last team to do that? The something triangle. Someone in the chat looked it up for me. Tell me who it was. I know they mentioned it. Never heard of them before. This must have been old school stuff. But it was nice to see us get back in the end zone because, let's be honest, the run game under Kevin O'Connell, it hasn't been hasn't been nearly what you want it to be. That's what it was. The Dayton Triangles was the last team to go 27 games without a rushing touchdown in the second half, which is just ridiculous. I love the team name, by the way. I would love if the Vikings were the Minnesota Triangles. I say we change our names to that. That's a pretty sick name there. But yeah, man, I think we're going to need to see more effectiveness in the run game. And this was a big reason why the pass game was working, because we were able to effectively run the football. So big game for Aaron Jones. Again, put the ball on the ground 3 times in the last 2 games. Don't want to see that. He does need to get that cleaned up. But either way, huge game from Aaron Jones. And this offense, when he's running well, we've seen it. This is like when this offense is at its best when the run game is working. And Aaron Jones, love having him here. I would not mind seeing him get a little extension from us to keep him here for the next couple seasons. But great game by Aaron Jones. First over 100 yards, which was nice to see, getting the run game back on track. Gotta love it.
Well, yeah, this is actually kind of fun. I seen that and said, who pulled the random stat over their ass? Probably that line judge guy. Yeah, who knew how important that dude, like how important was that line judge to that entire game? Like they almost had to cancel that bitch just because that dude got hurt.
We got iced, but we were moving on
iced by the
chain gang. Like what's going
on? And then what happened right away when we got back on the field? False start. False start. Yeah. We got a false start literally right after that. Dude, that's the most important guy in the NFL right there. You can't play.
To drive down the field, get an onside kick, do all this stuff, and then the ice by the chain gang, whatever. Yeah, Norris, I lost at fantasy football this week. So
Casey must have lost a bet. I don't know. He didn't lose his bet. He just loves that shirt.
Yeah, I love it.
He just loves that shirt. He loves it so much, which I don't blame him. Besides the cheesehead part, it seems pretty. It makes a lot of sense, I guess. Anyways, speaking of that shirt, though, I do think I've tortured Casey enough, and especially since he's gonna have to wear it again next week. So I'll let him put back that jersey. Happy birthday, bitch! Whose birthday? You're talking about Nick Muse? Oh yeah, went savage on Muse. Yeah, I know. Like the social media team. Probably, I don't know. I don't know what you do in that situation.
Okay. Anyway, we can move on now.
All right. We can move on. And that means...
I'm wearing a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, that shirt, now a jersey. I'm wearing like 4 layers right now.
4 layers? Hey, it's Minnesota. It gets cold in there. All right. Let's go and do the Skol Gauntlet. Anybody who's new here and hasn't seen this before, we go through each one of these topics, 30 seconds apiece. This one, we're going to go with our game ball, biggest loser, Justin Jefferson, Sam Darnold report. The Justin Jefferson is just going to be impact in general. Danny Dimes, we got to talk about that, hit on that. And then early week 13 predictions on a Monday against the Arizona Cardinal. Casey, let me know when you're ready to get rocking here.
All right, let's roll.
All right, 3, 2, 1, game ball.
My game ball goes to Sam Darnold. I mean, how can it not? Yes, first half, 50% completion, missed some throws, whatever. But when as it's been all year long for the most part, when we needed Sam Darnold to step up, Sam Darnold stepped up. Big time fourth quarter drive, big time drive in overtime to get us into field goal range. You saw how proud the coaches were of him on the sidelines after that. The way he bounced back after those rough 2 games. My game ball's got to go to Sam Darnold. I picked Sam Darnold a lot. I'm falling in love with the guy in a football way. But great game by Darnold.
Yeah, Sam Darnold's absolute stud, and unfortunately, it's JJ McCarthy season next year, and lucky for him because he's got a wide receiver 1B in Jordan Addison, who gets my game ball in this game. Absolute monster game, has the best game of his season, and reminds all of us why he was picked number 1 overall, why he was, probably easily up to this point, Quasi's greatest draft pick of all time.
Absolutely.
Let's go. All right, keeping it rolling with the biggest loser. 3, 2, 1.
How can it not be Johnny Munt? The guy, Kevin O'Connell once called him the best number 3 tight end of the NFL. He's been pretty ineffective this year. He's had some penalties. Obviously, this game was a disaster class. I know he said his job was to block on the 9-side kick. And I get it. Hindsight's 20/20 or whatever. At next time he said, I just fall on the football. But the fact you let yourself get in that situation in the first place was terrible. Then in the drive in overtime, the false start, it was not a good game by Johnny Munt.
Yeah, Johnny Munt's a good one. We didn't even put him on the duds, but he would have made a good dud. I guess you could have put him on special teams for a dud, for the onside kick specifically. But I'm going to go with the injuries here. I'm going to agree with the chat. Obviously, you lose your left tackle, a guy that we traded for because we already lost our starting left tackle, and then losing Ivan Pace Jr., especially from a fan base standpoint, you just always want to see that guy on the field. He's that dude who brings that energy. We've looked for the guy who brings the energy, and that's Ivan Pace Jr. Mm-hmm. All right, keeping it on going. Justin Jefferson.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
The Justin Jefferson effect is unreal. Again, Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in football. No one defends a receiver the way that people defend Justin Jefferson. He gets mugged, he gets triple teamed, he gets double, he gets split safety looks all the time. And just we saw what he does for this team, even when he's not touching the football. TJ Hawkinson had a long post game thing about him, just saying how special it is to play with him because he doesn't complain. I saw it earlier. If this is Diggs, if this is Jamar Chase, they're complaining after the game about not getting touches. Justin Jefferson, all he wants to do is win. Best receiver in football, one of the better leaders on the team.
Yeah, and in this game specifically against the Bears, is you can just see his impact. Like if everybody's watching Justin Jefferson, it's opening up everything else for Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson, and we are taking advantage of it. Every team is going to notice that, and I would be afraid to play us any longer, especially the offense specifically right now. And Justin Jefferson still had like the big pass interference. He would have had a touchdown there. He had 2 pass interference. If you got yards for pass interference, he probably would have had like 150 yards in this game.
Offensive and defensive pass interference. Got to remember that too. Pass interference on both sides of the ball would have given him some more yards.
Right. Touchdowns. Keeping on going here though. Sam Darnold report. You've already talked about him. Let's talk about him again. 3, 2, 1.
Sam Darnold report. Again, I think we've seen Sam Darnold's best 2 games as a Viking these last 2 games. And the big thing that's the thing. The Jaguars game was whatever, but then people said, "Oh, it's just the Titans and it's just the Bears." Like as a team, these 2 teams are not great. Record-wise, not very good. But these defenses is where you have to look. Titans were the number 1 statistical pass defense in the league at the time. The Bears have a solid defense coached by Matt Eberflus. What Sam Darnold being able to bounce back in these games has shown me everything I need to know that this is the Sam Darnold that we're going to see on a regular basis this year.
Yeah, and just going back to the bounce back thing, because that's what's most impressive. And I've mentioned it before, like earlier in the season, everything about Sam Darnold was going to be how he bounces back after the bad game he has. We knew he was going to have one. 3 interceptions against the Jaguars, 0 touchdowns against a bad team. And he ends up having arguably 2 of his best games of the seasons back-to-back with Tennessee. And in this game, putting the team on his shoulder in overtime against the Bears to win this 1. And yeah, Sam Darnold's definitely huge up here.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, it's just what we're seeing from him and again, like I don't think we're re-signing him next year, because honestly, I just don't think we're going to be able to afford it. I mean, I think as of right now, I think you're looking at probably a 3-year, $30 million per year contract for Darnold with the way that he's playing. If he gets into the right system, this is the Sam Darnold that we can see, and I think the locker room is starting to embrace him. I'm actually really excited to see what thing, like that last game against the Packers. If he keeps playing this way, I think he's going to get a pretty hefty ovation from the crowd, being that it could be the last home game we play here this year. So, I mean, it's just, I mean, you have to give Sam Darnold all the credit in the world for the way that he's playing. Again, does he have his flaws? Does he hold on to the ball too long sometimes? Yeah. Does he get fixated on Jefferson sometimes? In the past, yes, it's been getting better as of late. He's going to have his lumps. There's a reason that he's on his fourth team in 7 seasons. But you can't give him his lumps without having to give him praise for the way that he's played this year and bounce back from adversity. It's
especially who he was coming into this year, like what he's been able to do to see him bounce back. And you can see how confident he's been and having fun and all those things. It's really good to watch just for him in general. Like, imagine being a number 3 overall pick, seeing ghosts and pretty much everybody calling you absolute trash and nobody would ever want you. Things like that. And then to come in this and him having fun, actually being 9-2 on a team, gonna play in the playoffs, all these good things. So it's great to see kind of that comeback story for Sam Darnold. And hey, man, hopefully it continues. Hopefully it continues so well we end up winning a Super Bowl. Probably early to say that. I want to see a couple more games together. Specifically, we need to have a 4th quarter win. But anyways, keeping on rolling with Danny Dimes. What should we do? 3, 2, 1.
Danny Dimes. You guys aren't going to like this. I'd love if we signed him. Mainly, and here's the thing for me. It gives you flexibility for the future. Like, if you bring him in on a 1-year contract where you're going to have to pay him a vet minimum, he adds to the compensatory pick formula. If you find a way, because I think he's still getting paid by the Giants next year, if you find a way to bring him in for $5-ish million next year and the rest of this season, you have a backup plan in case McCarthy's not ready. And we have been able to see what Kevin O'Connell has done with these quarterbacks. Worst case scenario, he's your backup quarterback, or best case scenario, he's your backup quarterback. I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, and you were actually ahead on this compared to most people. Like last week, before anybody even talked about it, you were talking about the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. Like, you'd actually rather have Danny Dimes. And now I understand, people are saying, he's cut. He's not going to be asking for a lot of money. If he went on this team, we're not going to be paying him a lot. And he's definitely an upgrade. And we've seen it in person, upgrade over Nick Mullins. And I do think that is a fair choice. I do think he can come to this team, and it's still J.J. McCarthy teams going to next season, which is the most important thing to me.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And we're not out here, like, I'm not out here asking to bring Daniel Jones in on a $10 million deal, right? If you can get him for 1 year for the compensatory pick, absolutely. If you can get him for 2 years, like I said, just to be a just in case, worst case scenario bridge quarterback next year to let McCarthy get fully healthy, that's great. And worst case, you have a developmental quarterback who has some ball, and we've seen what O'Connell's been able to do with these quarterbacks. So I wouldn't hate it. Again, not asking for big money, not asking for him to come in and be the starter, not even asking him to come in and compete for a starting job. Like, next year, if McCarthy's healthy, McCarthy's the guy. Like, I'm not asking to have him compete for a starting job. I just wouldn't hate if we brought him in.
I mean, at this point, I'll take it. You're right. Even though Nick Mullins came in and he played solid in his couple snaps. But again, like, if something does happen to Sam Darnold at this point and you are 9-2, like, you're feeling pretty good knowing you have a backup. I feel like we've seen Danny Dimes play in firsthand, and I mentioned it. We've seen him firsthand play well in the playoffs. So if Sam Darnold goes down, like, you're feeling a lot better to have him go into playoffs than you do with Nick Mullins. It's a way better insurance on a year that, we probably should try to do something like that. You never know, especially a year with the way injuries has happened to us. This is one of the most unlucky seasons as far as injuries goes, especially before the season even freaking started, but we're still dealing with it here.
Yeah.
All right. For the last one, week 13, early predictions, 3, 2, 1.
Early predictions for week 13. This Cardinals team is tough, man. I know they got beat 16-6 on the road in Seattle. Those NFC West games are always tough. But I mean, they have a quarterback that can move and can throw the ball. They have Trey McBride, one of the better tight ends in the league. James Conner is a good running back. Marvin Harrison's a solid receiver. We all know that. Like, he's just fine. This is going to be a tough, especially I'm looking on the defense. This is going to be a tough offense to defend. And Kyler Murray can do some magical things. I'm a little worried about it. I think it's going to be a tightly contested game. Highly entertaining.
I'm getting less and less worried. There was a few game stretch where we're like, oh, they're looking good. Like, this is a team you don't want to mess with. It hasn't really been like that since. They haven't really been the same. They're not really firing on all cylinders. They've been losing. I mean, what is their record right now? I don't have it on me right now. 6-6. Yeah, 6-6 team. Yes, you do have Kyler Murray. You do have some weapons there. Marvin Harrison Jr. really hasn't stepped up to be the guy that we all thought. I guess we can continue into this because we went way over the mark here. Here, let me put this up. Boom. So we'll just go early look in general in this game. And you're playing against like some solid players, but you mentioned it. Like, we've played way better teams than, I know it's Kyler Murray. He's solid. Marvin Harrison Jr. has been solid, but the wide receiver in general isn't that big. James Conner, very solid. Trey McBride has been one of the better tight ends this season. Their offense isn't nothing to mess with overall, but it's their defense isn't anything I'm afraid of. Their defense hasn't really been good for years. I do think our offense, this is going to be a game where our offense should take advantage big time on that. And our defense has played way better offenses than what we're seeing against the Cardinals. And we do have to keep Kyler Murray in check for sure. And outside of this game, we've done good against that. It's more of like this short. The only thing with the Florida's defense that really struggles is these like short passes over and over and over again, just eating yards, short yards, over and over and over again. And that's what we got to worry about. In this game, I'm not as worried.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest concern is just defending Kyler Murray. Again, just the way that he can move, the way that he can make things happen outside the pocket, like that to me is what's concerning. Again, I think we're the more talented football team. I do think. I mean, obviously, we'll get into score predictions as we get like later on in the week on Thursday. But yeah, but I truly do believe we beat this team. I think that they have some things that are going to give our defense some fits. And I'm really curious to see how Flores is going to respond here in this game. But yeah, I think we're going to be just fine, especially being at home. We were talking at work. I have a sneaking feeling that we are going to drop one of these next three at home, though. And if there is going to be one of those games, I'd rather it be this one because you can't lose to Kirk and you can't lose to the Bears. So if we are going to drop one, but
Seattle was your pick early. Like Seattle was your pick throughout the whole off season. So, and because Seattle's always tough. Playing in Seattle is always tough for the Vikings. So if there's still one of those, I don't know. It's early. It's a Monday. I'm feeling good against this Arizona Cardinal team. We play well against them other than that 1 year where they fucked us to go to playoffs in 2003, I believe. But
yeah, and if what Delton said is true, like Cards have never beat us at home. We have had a lot of that this year. A lot of firsts. Unbeaten against unbeaten again, or we won our last 4 against the Niners at home. We were unbeaten in London. We hadn't lost to one other. I can't remember what the other team was. There's a bunch of Vikings have never done this, or we're undefeated here. Let's just keep that streak rolling.
Yeah. So Thursday, Gary. So Thursdays, remember everybody in here. Mondays and Thursdays. Every Mondays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. is our
programming note. We understand you guys are probably gonna be doing some family time stuff on Thursday for Thanksgiving. We will still be here. I'm doing my Thanksgiving over the weekend, so I will be at home. Jamie, I think you said you don't have a ton of plans. So we will still be doing the show Thursday night, 6 p.m. Central Time. I don't know. I just have that feeling. We won 3 on the road. It just feels like we're in for a letdown. But again, I can't be too negative.
This is a different season. Like, even though this season hasn't been as great as it was earlier on, like, you're still just beating teams. Like, we're still just they might be ugly, but we're just winning. Like, we're winning. Like, those teams, even the ugly wins, it wasn't like those other teams ever had a chance to actually win. It was mostly on us that we lose those games or not beating by a lot or whatever. So,
and this is another good point here. Like, Connor, I mean, we've done so well against a lot of these stud running backs. We've held them to basically nothing. So that is an absolute great point right there. And that's Kyler Murray is what I worry, because we saw kind of what can happen with a quarterback like that with Caleb Williams.
But he does have a lot less weapons than Caleb Williams.
He does, yes.
Well,
he has Marvin Harrison.
I mean,
Trey
overall,
McBride. Yeah. What are the other? What other receiver do they have?
They got Michael Wilson. They got what's the other that starts with a D? Greg Dortch. So, I mean, yeah, nothing crazy. And Marvin Harrison Jr. has not been who everybody expected him to be, at least his rookie year, I would say. Overall, he hasn't been consistent. So I'm not worried. We just faced a lot worse. McBride would be the scariest player on that team just because what Big Raylan said is we just been stuffing running backs. Like just last week, 30 yards on the ground. That's all we allowed last week. And it's DeAndre Swift, but still, well, not on the ground, but to DeAndre Swift specifically. Answering Darren Wang's question though here, Casey.
I don't think we're going to put him out there for some long ones. I just think he's going to keep being consistent. He missed the one extra point. I'll call it. I don't think Soul Patch Sniper misses a kick this season, a field goal. I don't think he misses a field goal this season, unless they trot him out there for like a 60-something yard or whatever. But any reasonable distance, I don't think he misses.
Yeah, dude, we're taking this. We're taking this. But anyways, everybody, let's get into the giveaway. Given the JJ McCarthy, get the hashtag Skols in the comments, like the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. Again, like Casey said, every Mondays and Thursdays, we give away JJ McCarthy cards. Actually, we're going to be doing that for the time being because I've showed this before, but I got a shit ton of them. So every Monday, Thursday, 6 p.m., including Thanksgiving Monday. I know, like Casey said, y'all probably hanging out with your families and stuff. Hey, but we're that purple family. You got to hang out with us too a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You can't leave us hanging on Thanksgiving. The reason I don't got nothing to do is because I don't live next to any family. So, and my wife works. So, you know what? You guys are my family Thursday. And maybe I'll even have some turkey here or something. Hey, Steve, let's go, my guy. Just send me one. Norris, every time you win, you just give it away anyways, dude. Every time you win, you just give it away. Yeah, get them hashtags. I'll be there. Let's go. Yeah, that's my Thanksgiving. My Thanksgiving is here with all you guys right here, especially after watching the Lions take a giant L on one of the earlier games. That's what we got to see.
I mean, that game, the Bears or the
Lions. I don't even know who they play. Who do they play? The Bears?
The Bears. Oh, they do. And the Lions have been...
Caleb Williams is going to drop 400 on them.
The Lions are always like that on Thanksgiving where they just don't win, you know? I honestly, in my Pick'em League, I probably won't pick that, but I would not be surprised if the Bears come out with that victory on Thanksgiving against the Lions. I would not be surprised.
Hey. I hope so. If we come on here, we get to talk about a Lions L, and that means that we are tied. American Thanksgiving. That sucks.
Will be here. Hey, we got some people. Good. We got some people that'll be joining us.
We got some people. Big Raylan will sneak in some way, somehow, you know? Where I was gonna. Oh yeah. I mean, if the Lions lose and we are tied with them on the season, like if we go in and we're both 10-2, that's the thing. Is like we automatically. I don't know how it will work out. Because, you know, none of us have any other division losses yet.
Get me to an even record in week 18.
Yeah, I know.
Get me to an
early
even
playoff game.
Week 18. It would be so much fun if that was for the division. Like, get me to that.
That would be the most hyped. That'd be like more hype, even though we might. The funny thing is we're going to have the Lions and the Packers probably in playoffs too. So we're going to be playing in division in playoffs. More than likely as well. So I don't know. This is going to be an interesting season, man. Hopefully we come on top in a lot of those ones, but I would love to. Yeah, I hope the Lions, do they play the Bills? I don't even know what their schedule is.
They do play the Bills this year too. Yeah.
Nice.
So,
nice. Good.
So they could slip up a couple times.
We're taking it. Hey, this is our division. We should have won that game. I'll say, I mean, we lost, but we should have won that game. We were up by 1. We should have went for the field goal or something like that, or even the touchdown. We let Dan Campbell, that's one team. Like, you don't play against a Lions team, and you can't let Dan Campbell make the decision. You can't put the ball in his, because he's going to take all the chances possible, and that's exactly what he did. But anyways, let me bring up the giveaway thing. We got 24 entries. Let's go. You guys obviously, like everybody knows, we pick 5 names. We're going to start this right away. Got to be here to make it to the duck race. 5 names to the duck race. Whoever wins the duck race wins the JJ McCarthy rookie card. With the first pick, we've got boom, Bob Swede. Bob Swede, you're still in here. You usually are still in here. I'll put your name in here, but let us know What's that?
He was here about 2 minutes ago, so he should still be here.
Oh, he should be in here.
You can keep rolling.
Yes,
I'll
Jamie,
remember what we
take
got.
Yes, Jamie, take that field goal just like I preached. That game we should have. We punted, but we should have, or no, we ran the ball twice. Like we were playing time. We weren't going for it all.
Yeah.
Let me get this banner out of the way here.
Bob Swede is here, so our first entry is of course here. We're set.
There we go. There we go. That looks a little bit better here. All right, let's keep on going here. 3, 2, 1. Boom. And the next one goes to boom, boom. Norz, you're talking. You're talking.
We know he's here.
All right, keeping it rolling here. Boom. Who we got next? Gotta be here to make it to the next round. And it is boom, boom. Gary. That's back to back. Let's go, Gary. Let's go. Keeping it rolling. Keeping it rolling. And we've got boom. Steve jumps in and gets in here right away. I swear Steve gets every single time he's in here, he gets one. Even though just because he's a Packer fan. Which I still don't I still have to try to find some more Packer cards, Steve. I need to find some Packer cards. Because as soon as I get one, it's going to you no matter what. I'm telling you that. Steve, you are assuming you're here, Steve. I'm gonna keep it rolling though. Steve, you just put it in there. It wasn't long ago. Adam, are you still in here? Last time he was in the toiletta.
Is that 5? Is that 4 of the 5 we have right now?
That's 5 of 5. So we got Steve.
2 of them aren't even Vikings fans. Like, what is going on here? What kind of people are we letting into our duck races?
Right? Adam. Gary. You better call Adam, see if he's on the old toilet again. There he is.
Here.
Let's go. We got all 5 here. Let me put it up. Adam versus Gary dynamic here. Adam versus Gary. I like that. Buddy versus buddy, man. That's what we need to see. All right. Got the names. Swede, Norris, Gary, Steve, Adam, done, set. What are we thinking here? We going for 10?
Yeah, 9. Well,
or 9. 9 for this one and 10 Thursday.
Let's try 9, and if it's lame, we'll do one more.
Okay. Adam is a Viking fan. I know Adam's a Viking. We're gonna get him. There's no way we don't get Adam eventually. Like we keep poking at him every year, every Skol Fest. He's gonna come to one.
And eventually, once your Niners bottom out, which looks like it might be starting, you'll find the light.
fuck Adam Punk. Yeah, dude, it's getting serious over here. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Kind of lame.
10.
I think we got to go 10.
All right.
I mean, we'll take it. 2 lame ducks. We got Sweet as a granny duck. All right, let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Boom. No shower caps. Adam with the backwards hat is in the early lead with Gary chilling in the back. Steve's number 2, Norris number 3, Swede number 4. Let's get it. 28 seconds left. The top 3 are just staying neck to neck. Gary's hanging out in the back, but we all know that's not a bad thing usually. Everybody's coming back now, though. Everybody's coming back. Gary's staying the same. Everyone else is coming back. Norris is going to bounce off hard. I can already tell. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Someone is. Gary's got some speed here. Swede. It's going to Bob Swede. I can see it. Granny.
What a run.
Granny. Boom. Bob Swede. 15 and 2, baby. 15 and 2, baby. Let's go. Bob, I'm pretty sure I already have all you. I should have all of your information, right? There's just like no way. Let's see here. Yep, Bob, I have all I need from you. Congrats, brother. You got your JJ McCarthy card. Let's get it. Let's get it. Again, like Casey said, we'll be here Thursday for Thanksgiving to talk about the Lions taking the embarrassing L from Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams he's going to throw an 80-yard pass from across his body from one side of the field to the other against the Lions, and it's going to be great. So
won't hate it. We'll be.
This
right
is going to
there.
be next. It's going to be a complete Lions hater podcast on Thursday. Hopefully, appreciate you guys. Sure. Anything else from you, Casey?
I got nothing. But yeah, as Jamie said, we'll be also Wednesday. Kind of a lot of the same stuff. Who knows? Maybe Wednesday we'll be talking about a little quarterback signing on Bleacher Report. Who knows? But we will be on Bleacher Report 4:30 Central. Then of course Thanksgiving Thursday. 6 p.m. Central Time. You can see us right here breaking down what happened on Thanksgiving. First off, because also after that, the Packers take on the Dolphins. Every NFC North team gets Thanksgiving games this year, except for your Vikings. They disrespected us as they have done all season long, but that's just fine. We'll be good. We'll be watching all those other teams. How about a Bears-Lions tie and a Packers loss? Nah, Bears got it. Bears got to beat the Lions.
Bears got it. We're officially, since we just did what we did to the Bears, ultimately, we got to root for the Bears now. We need them to beat the Packers because the Bears haven't played the Packers twice, right? I don't know.
No.
They've only played them once. So, yeah, we're rooting for the Bears in the division officially now, other than in the whiteout game, which is going to be absolutely fucking dope. But
absolutely. But thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you guys on Thursday right here on the GG Sports Podcast.
Go Vikes.